Hello students, welcome back. This is Dr. Mercado speaking. This is a lecture for my Accounting 1304 Introduction to Accounting 2 class. In this particular week, we are going to be covering Chapter 17, which deals with accounting for notes and interest. Now, in this chapter, we're going to learn about a promissory note, calculating interest and determining the due date of a promissory note, accounting for notes receivable transactions and accrued interest, as well as accounting for notes payable transactions and accrued interest. Now, before you begin working on any of your assignments, please make sure that you read the chapter in full. It shouldn't take you very long to read. They're short chapters. It should take you less than an hour to read through it. There's also wonderful illustrations included, examples that you can follow along to help you complete your assignment. Now, if as you're working your assignment, you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. That is why I am here, available to assist you. Just make sure that you do include the problem number that you're working on and your attempted solution step by step so I can review it and provide guidance, okay? Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into the first problem that I'm going to be covering. The first problem is exercise 17-2, and it deals with calculating interest. Okay. Now, this particular problem says using 360 days as the denominator, calculate the interest for the following notes using the formula I equals P times R times T. Okay, and then they give us 2, 4, 6 different calculations that we have to complete. Okay. Now, when we're calculating interest, this is coming straight out of your book. Interest equals principal times rate times time. Okay. The I represents the interest, the P represents the principal, the R represents the rate of interest annually, and T equals to time. Now, it's important to note, and this was included in the textbook, that the majority of the problems in this textbook are using 360 days as the denominator, and this is used for simplicity purposes. In the real world, most banks and businesses use 365 days as the base for computing daily interest, okay? So if you go out there to the workplace, more than likely we're going to be using 365, which is a more accurate measure of time, okay? In this textbook, for purposes of simplicity, they are using 360, okay? So, what are we going to do? Once you get the first formula down, it should be a piece of cake because it's a repeat, okay? What we're doing is we're going to get the principal times the rate times the time. Now, for the time, you're going to get the time, the number of days that have passed. In this case, it's 30 days. And I'm going to divide by 360, okay? And that gives me $25, okay? So if we were to do it in a calculator, it would be the 5,000 times the 6%, okay, times 30 over 360, and that would give me $25, okay? So you can do it in a calculator or you can do it here in Excel. So what we're doing is the principal times the rate times the number of days, 60 divided by 360, okay? That gives me $1,250, okay? For $4,500, we're going to get the $4,500 principal times the 8% interest rate times the number of days, 120 days over 360 days. That gives me $120 of interest. The next scenario is $950 times the rate of 6.8 times the number of days, 95 over 360. That gives me $1,705, okay? So all we're doing is multiplying the principal times the rate times the number of days that have passed divided by 360, okay? That gives me $2,568, okay? The last one we have is the principal of $2,900 times the rate of 7% times the time, 90 days over 360. That gives me $50.75, okay? So regardless whether you want to do it in Excel or let's do the last one here on a calculator, you're going to get 2,900 times 7% times 90 days over 360. That gives me $50.75, okay? So you can use either the calculator or Excel. Just remember the formula for calculating interest is the principal times the rate times the time. Okay, and the time is the number of days that have passed during the year divided by 360 in this particular case because that is what they're telling us to use as the denominator. Okay. Very straightforward calculation. Just be very careful to enter the correct figures and you shouldn't have any issues. Okay, so that is basically it. This is kind of like a warm-up exercise. I'll have a couple of more problems to go over in additional lectures, but please make sure that we read before you attempt any of your assignments. Okay, so have a fabulous week, and until our next lecture. Thank you.